Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the Landy Lodge. There has been an insane development in the gaming world since the last time we touched base. But before we get into that, we have a lot of people we need to thank. The sages of the lodge, those who keep the lodge moving with their monthly donations. So, big shout outs to David Fries, Shane Thomas Driscoll, Alex Pamal, Corey Barchat, Chris Perkowski, Scott Castellano, Maria Palmieri, Andrew Parker, The Fam, Nick Toborski, Charlotte Astray, Kevin McBride, Michael Fay, Richard Arnold, Luigi Peppercorn, Andrew Clay. Thank each and every one of you. You keep the lodge moving. And today, I bring you my guest, who is always welcome here on the lodge, former Smash champion, Joe Cipriano of Super Sammich Brothers. What's going on, my dude?
Former two-time champion. What's up, man? How you been?
Excuse me. You're right. You deserve that. Former two-time champion.
And inaugural. But, you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's been a while. So no hard feelings.
Maybe it's our rivalry that's making me keep all these important details out. I'm just so jealous of your success.
Good for the love.
But listen, I had to bring you in because, you know, everybody thought Nintendo was down for the count in 2020, that we weren't going to get any new updates, that they were just going to wash out 2020 and let it slide. But then we got last week's Direct, centered completely around the 35th anniversary of Mario. I want to go into the specific titles they announced, but before we do that, what's your overall take on the Direct?
I thought it was a welcome surprise. I thought it was nothing negative. I think that there was a lot of things that were, just overall like pleasant surprise, like nothing like earth shattering, except for one maybe particular thing that, one Luigi Peppercorn was pretty hype about. But overall, just kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's a nice way to round out the year, like get us through until, Christmas next year, post-apocalyptic survival tactics. But
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat, man. I didn't know what to expect from this Direct, even when we did find out it was Mario. But, I mean, at least for me, and maybe this is a good way to start. Did you ever play Super Mario 3D World on Wii U?
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
I don't know about you. That's probably my favorite Mario game of all time. There's something about it, like, in a way, it's almost a callback to Super Mario Brothers 2, where Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad were your choices of character, and now, bam, you can play as all four. Like, just being able to play a platformer with your friends as a multiplayer, as a co-op campaign, that's something that's so rare. I mean, you see semblances of it in Sonic the Hedgehog where you can control Tails, but he's pretty non-functioning, as opposed to here, like, you're essential. If you're player 2, 3, or 4, you are just as important as player 1. And I think that sort of multiplayer dynamic is kind of lost in today's gaming world. And I don't know. There was something so fresh about it when it came out on the Wii U that I cannot wait to get my hands on it again.
It is fresh, but that's Nintendo's bread and butter. Like the couch multiplayer has always been Nintendo's thing, and people always get on Nintendo for being set in their ways and not changing. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it sometimes, and that's Nintendo's thing. And that game was one of the few games to make the Wii U worth the money, because I don't know about you. I don't know about you. I bought the Wii U specifically for Smash. I had no intentions of, not that I had no intentions of buying anything else, but it was like, all right, I'm going to buy it for Smash. And if I don't buy anything else for it, at least I have Smash.
Same exact backstory, bro. Same backstory.
But that game in particular, it was extremely fun. Just being able to go over and hang out with friends at, our age, or 5 years ago or 6 years ago, whenever it came out, and being able to sit down and play and curse out your friends, and be competitive and cooperative and not cooperative. That game actually got banned from my buddy's house for a little while, because my one buddy would sit behind you. He would sit behind you while you were all running. He'd pick you up and he just throw you off.
Oh,
like,
God.
stop! We need to win. He's like, no.
The only time, see, I'm glad you brought that up because something that was so unique to that game was it was both competitive and cooperative. I don't know about you, the way me and my buddies used to do it, when you got to the ending and you had the flagpole, it was a race to the flagpole, all out war. That's it. You cooperate for 95% of the map, but that last stretch, all hell broke loose. And it just that you could play it your way. Like if you want to go full-blown competitive, you could. If you want to go full-blown cooperative, you could. But like I feel like good games have different ways of playing without giving you a different mode. Like there wasn't competitive mode, co-op mode. It was kind of on you to decide how you wanted to play it. I mean, I'm hyped for it to come to the Switch. To me, I know what for a lot of people the highlight of that Direct must have been. But for me, it was Super Mario 3D World, so I'm fucking hyped for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I didn't own the first one just because, again, I just played on my buddies. The one I did own was the Super Luigi World U. It was just like dedicated around Luigi in that Year of Luigi thing.
Year of Luigi.
Yeah, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm all down for that. Luigi's my boy. And that was solid, but yeah, I can't wait to bubble out of randomness and just annoy everybody because like that was the other one thing. Like when you're down to like the last guy and you're struggling, you need your last buddy to make it through, and they bubble, and the round's over. I remember multiple times like two people would like go to fall off and they both bubble to save each other, and that's it. That's the game. So I can't wait for that to be a thing again because that was absurdly amusing.
That's the other thing is I feel like the deaths in that game, like the ways you die or the circumstances in which you get a game over, are usually pretty comedic. Like just like the bubble example you just gave. So
sure.
I don't know about you. I'm super hyped for that one. Let's move on to before we get to the big fish. Let's go talk about the obscure fish. So they dropped this AR Mario Kart. What did you think of that?
So that's the first thing I heard from the Direct before I even saw it, because Mr. Peppercorn was, changing his pants over it. So when I watched it, I thought it was cool. Is it a gimmick? Maybe. Is it geared towards children? Probably. Is it something I'm going to pick up depending on price? Yeah, maybe. I think it's cool if it's depending on how it works, because like they showed in the Direct that you have your Mario, Luigi in the cart, you have the game, and then you have like the checkpoints. Mm-hmm. So if it's, I think you might have said it, where if it's like you walk around with your Switch and like make the course based off of like your movements, and then it takes a snapshot of your area, and then it goes off that. I think it would be great. Could it also be something that they just kind of throw in and updates and like it just kind of falters? I'm excited for it. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to say the least, right? It's like maybe this is a scenario where I don't get the iPhone 1, but I get the iPhone 3, where it's like, as this thing, if this works out and people are into it, the technology is only going to get better. And I think what you were kind of getting at least for me, it kind of comes down to the functionality of it. Like, I don't want to have to be resetting my entire apartment whenever I want to play. I want it to be seamless enough that I could make it work. Like, you go under the kitchen table, like, make it really compatible like that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's mostly directed as kids. I don't think it's meant to be a game changer. I don't think normal Mario Kart is threatened in any way by AR Mario Kart. I just think it's a cool... Nintendo's always liked the idea of selling you an action figure, whether it's Amiibos or whether it's like, I think Skylanders. I know it wasn't Nintendo, but they did something like that.
Skylanders. Yep.
Hey, there we go. See, I knew you were the right guy for this episode. I knew it. I just fucking knew it. But yeah, so it looks pretty fun. It's nothing I'm going to lose my shit over, but it looks pretty fun. All right, so before we talk about the smaller stuff, because I do want to touch on the smaller stuff, this is obviously the big story of the Direct. This is obviously what's causing most of the controversy, and we can get into that, but the Super Mario 3D All-Stars, Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Galaxy, all in one game. Now, I don't know about you. I've been waiting for some kind of N64 port to the Switch. And Mario 64 is like the first one through the gate, and I'm all about it. I cannot wait to replay that. Not going to lie, probably going to skip over Sunshine. Wasn't the biggest fan of it when I first played it, but I never played Galaxy. And I want to give Galaxy a shot. It looks reminiscent of Odyssey. It almost looks like Odyssey built itself off Galaxy, which would make sense given the chronology. But I don't know about you. Before we talk about the limited release and all of that, me personally, I don't know. Some of my earliest memories with gaming are playing Super Mario 64. In fact, funny story, I was once drowning in my friend's pool when I was like 7 years old. I swear there's a reason for me to bring this up. But I'm drowning in my friend's pool. I jumped in the deep end. I don't know how to swim. Very Nick Landy thing to do. So I'm yelling help. And my friends think I'm putting on an act. They think I'm kidding. They're laughing as I'm literally dying. So I fall underwater, and I'm like, wait. So Mario just swims like this in the game. I'm just gonna fucking do that. So I did that. I got to the edge. I remember whiting out. I was out of breath. I was fine. I survived. No real trauma. I could swim now. I'm not a rock. But Super Mario 64 might have saved my life. So the least I could do is give Nintendo $60 for it.
You should send that story to Nintendo and see if you can get some like Super Mario floaties or something, because that's fantastic.
No, my children are gonna have Super Mario floaties. I think that
they won't go through this hell.
Exactly. I think that's how I could pay this experience forward. But with that tale out of the way, how do you feel about this? Did you pre-order it yet? I already pre-ordered it. I don't know about you.
I did not pre-order it yet. However, I don't know if I'm going to pre-order it, but I'm definitely going to get it. So I've always been a Nintendo fanboy, right? That's my big thing. Like I always started with that 64, and from then, I've only had Nintendo products up until last year when I got my PlayStation 4. So I've always been huge into Nintendo, and Mario's always been my boy. I've always been a huge Mario guy. I have never owned a single Mario platformer. I never played Super Mario 64. I never owned Sunshine. I never owned Galaxy. I never owned Odyssey. I don't know how these things happen, but they do.
Well, I mean, I think it's a testament that, one, Nintendo has much more to offer than Mario. Because there's no other way that's possible for you to go your whole life like that if they didn't have more to offer. And two, maybe you're like me and you just kind of prefer the party games to the platformers.
So
parties, the carts, the baseballs.
Absolutely. I have all those. I absolutely have all those.
Yeah, of course. Those are
Mario
amazing.
Kart. I have all the Mario parties up until like Mario Party 8. But no, so the reason for that, so 64 came out in Super Mario 64 came out in like 96 or something like that. I didn't get an N64 until like 98. So, and I, at that point I'm 6 years old. I don't know about these things until, other than what's being told to me through magazine, like Toys R Us and
exactly. Nintendo Power.
I really didn't know about Super Mario 64 until I got older. Super Mario Sunshine was back in Blockbuster's heyday, so I had it from Blockbuster, and I played it via that, but, once you have to return it, I never got it back. So I never beat that. And then Galaxy, at that point, when I had the Wii, I was just like, yeah, I'll get it if I get it. I was more interested in the other Mario games and Smash. And that was also, back, with the DS, Pokemon was, my biggest thing. So, so, with all that encompassed, I am definitely excited to be able to play all these games. Harping back to what you said about the N64 accessibility with Switch, I'm pretty ambivalent about that, because on one hand, yeah, I'd love to be able to play on my old N64 stuff. That's my heyday. That's glory days for us, right? On the other hand, if they make retro N64 games for the Switch, we are officially old, and I'm not ready for that. Like, I can still, at that point, I can say, like, I'd rather just bust my N64 out in the basement and play it there. Why do I have to, buy it there? And then it's just like, wow, that's what old people say. And I'm not ready
You're
for that,
getting
man.
there, buddy. You're getting there. I mean, dude,
Like,
let me tell you, if that's the case, if N64 games being on the Switch makes us old, I can't wait to be old. I'll be old right fucking now. Dude, we're in our 20s. Chill. We're not old yet. We're we're on the other side of 20 though, so maybe I shouldn't get.
I am pretty excited. I am pretty excited for if it's going to remaster. They're hyping the quality of the game, so I want to see how well they can change the quality of Super Mario 64 from how it looked to how it's going to look from Switch. Obviously, it's not going to be ultra mastering. Mario's going to look like he does in 2020, but it's going to be interesting to see like the softness of it and how it flows and just the smoothness of the game and how it's going to be. So I am hyped for that.
My only thing was I kind of wish they ported the DS version instead. Maybe that's me, but the DS version had the updated graphics. You could play as Luigi and Wario, so I even think you might be able to play as Waluigi if I remember that correctly. One second.
Really?
Let me look this up. Super Mario 64 DS.
The interwebs.
To the interwebs. No, Yoshi. Yoshi was the fourth character. Okay.
Oh, my boy. My boy.
Exactly. So maybe it's just me, but as excited as I was with that announcement, I really was kind of hoping they ported the 64 DS. But look, I'm hyped either way. I never played Galaxy, and that's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. I'm going to play 64 first, just out of nostalgia, because I know my way around that game and can fly through it. But Galaxy is that's the new experience I'm really looking forward to. Because I don't know if you remember your experience with Sunshine, but I just didn't like the flood mechanic. It's like Mario is such a good platformer, and it doesn't need that. It doesn't need a jetpack. We don't need to do that. Like, Mario is fine as
I agree.
Are you there? I feel like I might have lost you. Or are you still here?
I'm here.
Okay. All right, cool. You're still here. All right. But yeah, no, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, but let's talk about the controversy surrounding it. So this is a limited release, which means you've got 6 months to buy this game, both physically and digitally, and then poof, gone, no longer available. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I thought that was really weird. I thought that's not something that Nintendo usually does. They're obviously trying to get people to be like, oh, I have to buy this now, or I'm not going to be able to buy it later.
Manufactured scarcity, as they call it.
Right. So they're going for the scare tactics to increase profits. So if it works, it works. Are they now? It's going to be like you buy it and you have it. It's not going to be like, because like some of like the ones that are like internet capable, it's not going to be like the servers are shut down after the 6 months.
No.
Right? Like
you'll buy it. If you buy it digitally, it'll still be there in 5 years. Like, you're good.
Yeah. I mean, look, if it makes Nintendo money and it's not hurting, it's not like they're lying about anything. It's just a weird, like.
It's weird. I mean, look, 6 months, like, I don't want to be too insensitive because maybe there's somebody out there who this isn't true for, but I feel like for most people, 6 months, especially 6 months running through the holidays, that's usually enough time to get a game. Like, I feel like they've given us a strong window to decide whether or not we want this game. Nintendo's done something like this before for the 25th anniversary. They had a limited release. But here's the part that I think is actually kind of scummy. I understand if you want to do a limited release for the physical copy. You want to reduce your overhead. You don't want to manufacture hard copies after a certain date and then just have it available on the digital store. I do not understand it not being available on the digital store. Now, I spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I wanted to give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt. And I asked myself, why would they do this without being scumbags? So it's either A, they're scumbags, or B, we are going to start getting 64 ports to the Switch. And it won't be a big deal that 64 isn't available in a hard copy, because by 2022, it'll be available on Switch Online. Something like that. That, to me, seems like the only reason they might pull this off. But one more thing I want to give Nintendo. is that if you wanted to play Super Mario Sunshine right now without an emulator, dude, shops, eBay, they're all charging $70+ for it. So this is the cheapest way to play Super Mario Sunshine alone, let alone all the other two games.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. I didn't get a chance to look at to see what prices were, but I was thinking that like you're essentially paying, $20 per game. So why not?
I think it's a pretty good
idea.
deal. But I'm not a fan of that digital exclusion though. That it won't be available on the eShop after a certain point. That doesn't make sense to me unless something like this is coming.
I think it is because when they started the Nintendo Entertainment System online thing, it was just that, and then we got the Super Nintendo one, like not even a year later, I think. So
that's true.
It only makes sense that they're working towards the N64, and that Super Nintendo thing was, the time between the NES and SNES emulators on Switch is far less than the SNES today. Even if they release the N64 emulator tomorrow, the time is still, greater. So obviously it's going to be more, it's going to be a bigger expenditure and a bigger process to go from, SNES to 64 rather than NES to SNES. But I think it's coming. I think the latter point that you made is hitting the nail on the head. Or they're just scumbags.
I think, yeah. I mean, it could be that they're just scumbags. But you know what I thought of while you were in the middle of that rant? What if they're releasing a 64 classic? Like they did the NES classic and the SNES classic. God. You know what I'm saying? Like,
could be too.
They're up to something here. And next year is Zelda's 35th anniversary. And like Ocarina of Time is the flagship title on N64. So I could see them maybe releasing something like that next year. Look, either way, it's peculiar behavior to have this limited release. I do think it's enough time that anybody could get this if they really want it. Like even if you're 8 years old, just ask for it from Christmas, I think it's a big enough window. And maybe I'm biased because when that window ends, that's when Super Mario 3D World gets here. So I'm ready to go. I'm going to be all Mario'd out. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say about 3D All-Stars. I don't know if you got anything left for that topic.
No, just I'm excited for it. Like the same aspect as you, I'm excited to, even potentially more because like I said, I've never been able to play these games, and technically, yeah, I own all the systems and I could just go out and buy them, but I haven't, and now it's just easy and it's right there, and why not? It's three games that irrespective of how we feel about them, particularly Sunshine, particularly like we talked about, which I agree. The Flood was meh, but three games that were still very good games when overall that we now have access to portable. It's crazy when you think about it. So yeah, I'm hyped for it.
Likewise, man. I think that's a good point too that we haven't brought up is these are not only just available as a console, but now all these games are available portable, which is beyond our wildest dreams. We never imagined Sunshine was going to get a 3DS remake, right? So, this was good stuff. There was one thing, I watched it again today, and what really caught my attention this time, but not the first time, was that competitive Mario Brothers. Did you see any of that? That looks...
Oh, for sure.
That looks pretty crazy.
So, I don't know if you downloaded Tetris 99 when they came out with it.
I did not. I missed the Tetris 99 wave.
So I downloaded it. It's actually real fun, and I got decently good at it because what else are you gonna do on Friday nights but play Tetris against 98 other people? It's the exact same mechanic. It's literally the same thing. It looks the exact same. They literally did it's worked for Tetris. Let's try it with Mario. Except half the people. So it's when you in the Tetris game, it would be like when you make a Tetris or you make a block, you can send it to other people to have it attack them, which is exactly what this new one is. You kill enemies, you send it to one of the other ones. So that's one of those things where it's like, oh cool, they're going in that direction. Like it worked for Tetris, I don't see why it can't work for Mario. And it's different because not at least, but in Tetris, like it's just like, oh okay, I've got more blocks, but that was always part of the game. this is a new,
Exactly.
like, why are there 35 Goombas on my damn screen right now? Like, it's going to be
It's going to be a trip, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, especially if there's any sort of local play involved. I think it's cool. I like the idea. I love the idea of mixing the old with the new. I think this is how you make the old new again. It seems like a lot of fun. And that game, honestly, you want to talk about games that have aged well. The first Super Mario Brothers is still fun to play. And there's something special about that, dude. Because there are games I go back to now that were on like N64 or PlayStation 1 or even the Super Nintendo. And it's like the games drag now. Like, as somebody who is like, great example, Star Fox 64, timeless. Star Fox on Super Nintendo, it's by today's standards a piece of garbage. You know, just to be honest, as someone who loves the series.
Well, that's like the exact same thing with Mario Kart 64 and what was it, Super Mario Kart?
Super Mario Kart on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly. The exact thing. 64 is a classic. Super Nintendo, you can't play it.
You can't play it. It just doesn't hold up. So I'm a big fan of that. Did you like that Game & Watch Mario thing they were offering? Because I thought that was awesome.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was a nice little, like, oh, okay, that's a nice, because, like, you know, Nintendo's always been a retro type thing, and I like it. Am I gonna get it? No, probably not. But it's cool. I like that. I like that one of the big talking points was it has a clock. Excuse me for a second.
Who's calling?
That would be my sister's boyfriend. So I'm not gonna pick that up.
No guest appearance on the podcast for him?
No, considering he'll be expecting my sister and he'll see me and you and he'll be like,
oh my fucking God. But you know, there's something cool about it because Nintendo has their roots in retro gaming. Like, Nintendo's been there from the beginning. And, you know, to pay homage to the Game & Watch like that, I think is pretty cool. Here's my question. Is it an alarm clock or is it just a clock? Do we know?
They didn't say, but I'm assuming it's got to be an alarm clock.
You would hope so, right?
That was one of the big things when they went from the DS to the 3DS. They took the alarm clock function off, and I didn't know, like, it made no sense. Like, why? That's like so, like, stupid.
That's a Nintendo thing to do.
It only bothered me because
Nintendo thing to do.
It only bothered me because I used my DS as my fucking alarm clock. So when I got my 3DS, I was like, sweet, where's the alarm clock? I have to use my phone? No.
And it's like, you know, it doesn't take up a lot of bandwidth. Like, you know, alarm clock, by, like, for today's standards, is a day of work. That's got to be a day of work to put that in there, unless I'm missing something. So, I was just as perplexed as you were. Did you?
The one.
No, go ahead. All you.
I was gonna say the one thing though about the Game & Watch system that I thought was interesting was they were like, oh, for Mario's 35th anniversary, we're gonna put 35 new. I forget what the word they used was, but 35 like not buttons, but like things that it can do. It was just very broad term, and I was just sitting there like I watched it twice, and the second time I was just like, all right, I didn't miss anything. They literally just said like it can do an extra 35 things, but we're not going to tell you. You will find that out on your own. And it's like, okay.
They must not be very impressive. If they're not trying to sell you on it, then it's probably not very impressive. It's probably
like, oh, you can change. It's like you can change the background color. You can change the foreground color. You can change. Did we say the background color? Because you could change the background color.
Did we say stopwatch? It is a stopwatch.
Hey, the alarm clock. Yeah.
But overall, I think it was a really good Direct. I think Nintendo fans needed it. I feel a little bad for maybe the Nintendo fans like yourself who don't have a lot of stock in Mario. But it's better than nothing. And personally, I don't know. I feel like very quietly 2020 has been a really good year for Nintendo, but for some reason they don't seem to have that press. They don't seem to have that perception, you know?
No, because they've been in the dark ages for so long. Nintendo's been in the standard gaming community. Nintendo's been irrelevant since the Wii came out, essentially. Because we came out and Wii was revolutionary. So, but once that honeymoon period of motion aspects was over, gaming industries and developers were like, well, I don't want to make my game twice to have to compete with be compatible with Wii, so we're just going to drop all the third-party games from Nintendo. So from there on out, so for let's call it 2.5 systems, it's been Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo's still around. Like, that's for kids. But honestly, I think the Switch is turning that around. The Switch has been the best console for me personally since GameCube, and I think GameCube is an extremely underrated console to begin with. But
could not agree with you more on that.
Thank you. Honestly, by next year, you're going to see, in my opinion, you're going to see Nintendo at least coming close to being where it was with GameCube. You're going to get, because we're already getting third-party games back. And they're, for the most part, they're working. They're running well on Switch. I've only seen a couple of examples of much bigger games that don't run well, and that's more the developer's problem than the actual system's problem. But I'm thinking 2020 was a good start year to get Nintendo back into the mainstream gaming community's eyes. And as a Nintendo fan, I am excited for next year.
I'm excited for next year too, man. I mean, between Breath of the Wild 2, the Super Mario 3D World port, I think there's a lot of new ports coming to the Switch next year too. Animal Crossing was a smash hit this year. That might be their best-selling game on the console when it's all said and done. Right now, it's still Mario Kart 8, but I'm pretty sure Animal Crossing has already cracked top 5. It's well on its way to being the best-selling game on the console. As somebody who was an Animal Crossing fan, this completely revolutionized the genre. And I think that's something the Switch has going for it that's so special that we haven't seen since the GameCube, is the franchises that are going all in on the Switch's hardware, on the Switch's specs, are revolutionizing their franchises. Zelda, Breath of the Wild, revolution for the franchise. Mario Odyssey, revolution for the franchise. Fire Emblem Three Houses, revolution for the franchise. Animal Crossing, revolution for the franchise. So, like you, I'm excited that, the third-party support is back and that we're getting ports of timeless classics like Witcher 3 onto the Switch, making it an even more viable system and expanding its library. I honestly, when it comes to Nintendo and their systems, I get mostly excited for their first-party content because, like I just laid out with the Switch, they have the ability to go to the next level with everything. And maybe, just maybe, we might get that Metroid Prime 4 announcement.
Oh, no. The one that's been in hell for years? Maybe.
Literally lingering in the shadows.
Look, I'm all for their first party, their Nintendo's babies. I'm all for that. But the thing is, the reason I'm excited for the third-party games is not only because, we're going to see more broad appeal to the Switch and to Nintendo. Nintendo's been forced to maintain themselves on just their own stuff for so long that they have become, maybe not redundant is the word, but stale in a way. And this is from one of the bigger Nintendo fanboys there is. I was just talking to my buddy the other day. A couple of years ago when they were coming out, I was all excited. They were coming out with all new, platforms. They had a new DK game, they had a new Yoshi game, they had a new Kirby game. And I was like, oh, awesome, cool. And what did we get? We got Kirby Epic Yarn and Yoshi Woolly World in the same year, which is literally the exact same concept for two of their platformers. It was the exact same thing. Only in Yoshi you could die, and in Kirby you straight up couldn't die. And then we got the next Yoshi game was Crafted World, which felt like the same thing. DK, you got DK Tropic Freeze, which was, at this point is older, but it was just a rehashing of DK games. But my point being, now that you're going to have 3D games, not 3D, third-party games back meshed in with all their first party, it gives their first party time to breathe and time to make it seem fresh again. They don't have to rely on all this, so that when we get another game, it's going to be like, oh shit, I didn't even think about this. This is a cool concept. And they have time to develop these things. So they're not forced what do we do? Let's put out another random Mario game.
that
35th anniversary.
that is an excellent point, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's a brilliant point. If there are good third-party ports and third-party support on a system, it does give those first-party properties breathing room. And, then we're not begging Nintendo for a Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. You know what I'm saying? Because there's all these other games. I like seeing old classics coming to the Switch. I think that's going to, the Nintendo Switch is something I see transcending its console life. After we've long moved on into other consoles, I still see people playing the Switch. Why? Just because of the library. Whether it's its indie library, the third-party ports, or the first-party games. It's I feel very similar about the Switch that I do the GameCube, because I feel like the GameCube has I think the reason why we look back on the GameCube and see it for such a brilliant landmark that it is because the Wii and Wii U were so lackluster in terms of their library. With the Switch, we're seeing the library have a strength we haven't seen since the GameCube. And I think 2021, like you're saying, is only going to boost that even more.
Yeah. Like I said, I can't wait. And man, the only reason I don't play my GameCube anymore is because I can't find the power cord to it. Otherwise I would boot that shit up. I'd boot that shit up, multiple times a month, and memory cards. That's something that didn't age gracefully.
So fucking glad memory cards are a thing of the past.
I don't know about you, but I had at least 2 memory cards chewed up by dogs. My dogs. I didn't go randomly fighting dogs. Your boy. I don't want to play any of these games anymore.
Who hates Crash Bandicoot? You hate Crash Bandicoot.
Oh man, and that's another thing. They're getting rights back to games that we haven't seen forever. This is all good things. I haven't heard a single bad thing said about Nintendo all year, and it makes me happy.
Yeah. Woo! That one came through the years. I think that's a good cue. No, that's okay. I think that'd be a good cue to start wrapping this up. But before we do wrap it up, I wanted to give you one last final say on this Super Mario Direct. One last final say. Let people know who you are, what you have going on, and then we'll put a bow on this thing and call it an episode.
Hello, I am Joe. I am one half of the Super Sammich Bros. If you wanted to look to my Instagram or Super Sammich Bros page, Instagram and Facebook, we review sandwiches. I also like games. Don't go to my personal page unless you really want to. That's Joey2Sip. There's really nothing special about that. That's just me. As far as the Mario 35 Anniversary Direct, welcome surprise, just like, you know what, never mind, I'm not going to say that. A welcome surprise.
No, now you have to say it. Now you have to say it. I'm sorry.
I was going to say something along the lines of an unknown pregnancy, but...
Oh, boy. You know what? Next time I'm going to trust you when you say, never mind.
You always should, man. You always should.
Fair enough. But, yeah, if that's all you got, man, then I think this is a good time to wrap it up. Want to give another shout out to the Sages of the Lodge. You're who make this whole thing possible. You're what makes this thing go. You are the fuel. So thank you very much for all of your generosity. Joey Cipriano, thank you for coming on. Happy to have you back on the Lodge. Wait. I can't wrap it up yet.
Why not?
Do you want to cut a promo for the Smash tournament?
Oh, right now? Oh, you caught me off guard.
You don't have to do it right now. I don't know. I just thought it's something I throw out there. Smash.
All right.
Be back.
Okay. Smash tournament. Fuck. All right. I gotta go. October 2020. COVID. Don't care. Smash, do care.
That's a bad look. That's a bad look. Just to be clear, we very much care about that. about, what was it? The beer virus. We definitely care about the beer virus on here. And if you're wondering why I'm calling it the beer virus, it's because I don't want the algorithm to pick me up. So with that said, Joey Cipriano, thank you very much for coming on. Another shout out to the Sages of the Lodge and to all of you who grace me with your ears and eyes. I do not deserve it, but thank you anyway. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Later, guys.